Overview of manual methods for antibiotic susceptibility testing, AST, one Professor Mokhtar Kamara. Definition. An antibiogram is a laboratory technique, in vitro method, aimed at testing the sensitivity of a bacterium to one or more antibiotics. Principle. The purpose of the antibiogram is to determine the minimum inhibitory concentration, Mike, of a bacterial strain vis-a-vis the various antibiotics. 2. Therapeutic. Judicious choice of antibiotics. Epidemiological. Monitoring bacterial resistance over time. Adaptation of probabilistic antibiotic therapy. Comparison of resistance phenotypes. Diagnostic. Bacterial identification by highlighting natural resistance. 3. The mic is the lowest concentration of antibiotic capable of causing complete inhibition of the growth of a given bacterium, appreciable by the naked eye after a given incubation period. Sensitive S. Intermediate I. Resistant R. 4. Mic direct determination. 1/5. Dilution methods. The dilution methods are carried out in a liquid medium or in a solid medium. They consist of putting a standardized bacterial inoculum in contact with increasing concentrations of antibiotics. 5. Mic direct determination. 2/5. Antibiotic incorporated into the culture medium. Increasing concentrations. Standardized inoculum is inoculated into each tube plus control, only one strain tested at a time. Mic equals lower concentration of ATB capable of inhibiting any culture visible after 18 to 24 H of incubation dilution in liquid medium 6. Mic direct determination. 3/5. 7 broth macro dilution broth micro dilution advantage, providing quantitative results. Disadvantages: relatively large amount of space and reagents required, labor-intensive nature, the possibility of errors in preparation of the antibiotic solutions for each test. Advantages: reproducibility, the small amount of sample required, the low cost allowing large numbers of replicates. More efficient and easier than the micro-dilution method. Disadvantages: the difficulty in the detection of contamination, the inoculum viability, and the inhibitory effect of cosolvents used, e.g. dimethyl sulfoxide, 0.1250.25210. 543286412 plus 0.06 milligrams slash L bactery 1 bactery 2 bactery 3 bactery 4 bactery 5 bactery 6 bactery 7 bactery 8. Mic direct determination. 4/5. Agar dilution method, incorporation of different concentrations of the antimicrobial agent into a molten agar medium, usually using serial twofold dilutions. Inoculation of a standardized microbial inoculum to the surface of the agar plate. The agar plates are evaluated by visually comparing varying strains in the series, and thereafter. The mic endpoint is determined as the lowest antibiotic concentration that inhibits bacterial growth 8 control. 0.5 ml1 ml2 ml1, 2, 3, and 4 strain numbers. Mic direct determination. 5/5. Diffusion method in agar medium e-test. Epsilometric method. Heavy checkmark strips. ATB concentration gradient ranges from 0.016 to 256 milligrams slash L or from 0.002 to 32 milligrams slash L heavy checkmark inoculation slash strip deposit. Heavy checkmark inhibition ellipse. The points of intersection with the strip define the mic 9. Growth zone. Inhibition ellipse. Mic 10. Mic indirect determination disk diffusion method equals standard antibiogram 11, blotting paper discs, impregnated with antibiotics, agar medium, Mueller-Hinton ++++. Inoculate a pure culture of the strain to be studied, disk application, incubation, antibiotics diffuse uniformly by concentration gradient. Standardization. Strictly controlled parameters. Standardization governed by documents from WHO and various. Comité de l'antibiogramme de la Société Française de Microbiologie/European. Committee of Antimicrobial Susceptibility Testing, CSFEM/UCAST. Clinical Laboratory Standards Institute, CLSI. 12. Main recommendations: heavy checkmark culture medium equals Mueller-Hinton, MH. Allows the growth of many bacteria without antibiotic inhibitors. Agar thickness equals 4 millimeters. Conditions the concentration of the antibiotic source. pH between 7.2 to 7.4. Temperature equals 35 to 37 degrees Celsius. Incubation time equals 18 to 24 hours, normal atmosphere. 13. Antibiogram MH supplemented with 5% sheep blood, Streptococcus spp. Neisseria meningitidis, 5% CO2, Campylobacter spp. 5% CO2 or anaerobic. Other media, Haemophilus spp. HTM or chocolate agar plus polyvitex, Neisseria gonorrhoeae, chocolate agar plus polyvitex 5% CO2, anaerobic. Wilkins-Chalgren supplemented with 5% blood or Brucella agar supplemented with FIT K1 and 5% blood for 48H incubation 14. Antibiogram. Main recommendations: testing for methicillin resistance in Staphylococcus aureus subsp. aureus, MRSA. Heavy checkmark a hypersalted Mueller-Hinton agar incubated at 37 degrees Celsius. Heavy checkmark a standard Mueller-Hinton agar incubated at 30 degrees Celsius in the latter case. The incubation time may be 48 hours. Heavy checkmark cefoxidin, Mueller-Hinton agar and incubated at 37 degrees Celsius 15. Antibiogram. Main recommendations: testing for extended spectrum beta-lactamase, ESBL, in gram-negative bacilli. ESBL production was detected by double-disc synergy test with discs of amoxicillin clavulanic acid surrounded at a radius of 30 millimeters by cefotaxime, ceftriaxone, ceftazidime, cefepime, and or aztreonam. Bacterial suspensions at a concentration of 107 CFU/ml were inoculated on Mueller-Hinton agar. 16. Main recommendations. Density of the bacterial inoculum should be adjusted using a densitometer or by comparison with an opacity standard, McFarland scale. The technique must be regularly checked with reference strains. American Type Culture Collection, ADCC. Pasteur Institute Collection, PC. 17. Step 1. Inoculum preparation bacterial suspension, calibration, turbidity, McFarland standard tubes. Densitometer +++. 18. Cabby-Bauer method swabbing. On the agar surface. 19. 30 millimeters. 20. Step 4. Plate incubation 21. Manual. Automatized camera. 22. 23. Interpretive reading of the antibiogram is based on knowledge of resistance phenotypes susceptible. Summary of AST manual methods 25. Illustration of commonly used methods of antibiotic susceptibility testing. AST A. Broth dilution test B. Agar dilution test C. Concentration gradient diffusion test D. Disc diffusion test. The circular zone of inhibition is measured. By the diameter in mm, then it will be possible to calculate the mic of the antibiotic for the strain examined by plotting this diameter on a concordance curve, pre-established in advance with 100 of strains sampling of different sensitivities. 26. 1 in 10,000 bacteria. Determined from mic tubes with no visible bacterial growth. MBC. 27. Minimum bactericidal concentration, 2/2 CMV/mic ratio, defines the tolerance of a strain bactericidal ATB if CMV/mic 2 bacteriostatic ATB if CMV slash mic very large mic values very far from CMV values CMV slash CMI or equals 32. Strain is tolerant to ATB 28. Continuous reliability assessment. Verification of technical, human, and material conditions. Heavy check mark once a week, at least once a month. Heavy check mark 8 ECC/OU PIC strains or other reference strains providers. External quality assessment, EQA. Heavy check mark every 3 or 6 months. Heavy check mark certified organizations, WHO, CDC, etc. 29. 30.